Hey there, clever masterminds, it's your homeboy, Clever Boy 86, and today I'm going to be reviewing The Walking Dead Season 7 mid-season finale, Episode 8, titled Hearts Still Beating. So, anyways, this was a 90-minute extended episode, and we've had a lot of 90-minute episodes for this half of The Walking Dead Season 7. Like Episode 4, Service, was a 90-minute extended episode. Episode 7, Sing Me a Song, was also a 90-minute extended episode. And this episode was 90 minutes. So it's almost like an episode and a half, because the average length for a Walking Dead episode is 43 minutes. So with these 90-minute extended episodes, we get like 64 minutes of show. So we get an extra 20 minutes of show, so that's pretty cool. So it's like an episode and a half, really. But anyways, so I'm glad they're doing like more of these 90-minute extended episodes for this half of Season 7. So yeah, anyways, let's get into my review for this episode. So this was a really good episode. We got to see the deaths of Spencer and Olivia in this episode. So this was my second favorite episode of Season 7, and it was a really great mid-season finale. But even though the first half of Season 7 was kind of a disappointment for me, we started out strong with an amazing premiere, and we ended strong with a great mid-season finale, so that's what's important. But, I mean, the first half of Season 7 was kind of a disappointment for me, but, still, we had a great premiere, and we had a great mid-season finale, so... And I'm super excited for the second half of Season 7. It should be lit, because we're going to be getting the March to War storyline. And in the finale, we should get like a tease of All Out War. But I don't think All Out War is going to start until Season 8, because the Season 8 premiere of The Walking Dead is going to be the 100th episode of the show. So I think they're going to wait until the beginning of Season 8 to start All Out War. But I am super excited to see All Out War. It should be amazing. And I can't wait to see how it's adapted from the comics to the television series. So yeah, anyways... So let's get into my thoughts on this episode. So this episode starts off at the hilltop, and we see Maggie sitting alone at Glenn's grave, and she assumes her post at the hilltop's front gate with one of the other survivors from the hilltop, I forget his name, but Gregory approaches and warns her not to let her popularity with the hilltop residents get to her head, and he kind of taunts her by rubbing an apple on his jacket, and the other hilltop members like, dude, you know she's pregnant, right? So Gregory reluctantly tosses the apple up to Maggie, and she catches it and takes a bite out of it as she continues her watch duty. But yeah, I don't really like Gregory all that much. He's kind of a douchebag. He's just a really unlikable character. So yeah, I don't like Gregory at all. But anyways, so continuing on, we pick up in Alexandria with Negan, who is shaving in Rick's bathroom, and he begins to instruct Carl on shaving techniques, so that was pretty funny. But anyways, at the Savior's compound, we see Daryl escape his cell, so it was great to see Daryl escape from the sanctuary, and yeah, so anyways, so back at Alexandria, Negan cooks pasta in Rick's kitchen, and out on the porch, Tara hands Olivia a canister of powdered lemonade, and she offers to take her place inside, but Olivia declines, saying that she promised to watch Judith. So she enters the house, and Negan is sitting at the head of the table, and Negan makes Olivia pour him some lemonade. So yeah, anyways, so we pick up with Rick and Aaron, who went on a supply run to get supplies for Negan's next visit. And they got to this pond filled with walkers, and they found like a houseboat in the middle of the pond. So anyways, so they find a boat riddled with bullet holes, and they decide to try and row the boat to a canoe in the middle of the pond. And back in Alexandria, Negan and Carl and Olivia are eating pasta, and Negan says that he's tired of waiting for Rick. So anyways, a savior rummages through the goods that Spencer collected and commends his hard work. And a female savior goes up to Spencer and offers to show him their compound if he places cards right. And she catches Eugene watching them and calls him out. So that was a pretty funny scene. But anyways, so we pick up with Carol, and there's a lot of jumping around at the beginning of the episode. Like, we see what's going on at the hilltop, then we see what's going on in Alexandria, then we catch up with Daryl at the sanctuary, and then Rick and Aaron. So there's a lot of jumping around in this episode. But anyways, so we see Carol, who's in this cottage, and we haven't seen her since episode 2, so it was great to see her again. And yeah, so anyways, she's in this cottage, and she's reading a book, and she hears a noise outside and sees Morgan leaving a sack of produce on her porch, and she invites him inside and reveals that King Ezekiel has also been leaving her produce. And Richard, who's one of the Kingdomers, stops by to speak with Morgan and Carol. So anyways, we pick up with Rick and Aaron, and they paddle the sinking boat. They're surrounded by walkers, and as they reach the canoe, a walker pulls Aaron underwater, but he escapes and swims to the houseboat, and Rick paddles the canoe to the houseboat and docks it. So we see Daryl sneaking down the hallway of the sanctuary, and he hears saviors approaching and ducks into Dwight's apartment. Inside, he devours a jar of peanut butter, and he changes into Dwight's clothes and listens to the saviors in the hall. And Daryl notices Dwight's carved figures on a table. So back in season 6, when Daryl first encountered Dwight and Sherry and Honey, he saw that Dwight had a carved figure, and Daryl took it from him. But anyways, so Rick and Aaron rummage through supplies on the houseboat, and Aaron finds a note with a drawing of a middle finger, and it says, "Congrats for winning, but you still lose." But anyways, so Daryl hears the saviors leave the hallway, and he seizes the moment and flees the apartment, but not before smashing Dwight's carved figures. So anyways, Rick and Aaron get the houseboat to shore and load the cargo truck up with supplies, and Rick mentions how Michonne feels about their deal with the saviors, and Michonne says that it isn't living when they're just providing for Negan, but Aaron says that he knows that they're doing this to stay alive. Staying alive, staying alive, staying alive. I'm sorry, that song just popped into my head. But anyways, so Rick and Aaron finish loading the truck and prepare to leave, but someone wearing boots watches them from across the pond. So anyways, I don't really know who that is. It could be Dwight. I don't think it is Dwight though, but maybe one of the other saviors. I don't know, we'll have to wait and see. But anyways, so Michonne holds the female savior that she's taken hostage at gunpoint, and she asks her why she was alone in the woods, but she doesn't answer. So Richard reveals his fears to Carol and Morgan, and he doesn't think the kingdom can coexist with the saviors, and he believes that inevitably the saviors will destroy the kingdom, and Richard asks Carol and Morgan to help him convince King Ezekiel to strike first. So back at Alexandria, we see Father Gabriel and Rosita inside this church, and Father Gabriel urges Rosita to refrain from attacking Negan by herself, and he recommends that she waits for the right moment so the community can take him down together. But anyways, so Rosita's planning on killing Negan with the bullet that Eugene made her. So anyways, back at the Savior's compound, Daryl flees down a hallway and grabs a pipe, and so Carol refuses to help Richard and insists on being left alone, because Carol just wants to be left alone. She doesn't want to kill anymore, and she's tired of, having to kill people to survive, and she just wants to be left alone. So, and Morgan is hesitant to disrupt the peace with the Saviors, and Richard dejectedly leaves, and Carol tells Morgan to leave and forbids him from telling anyone where she is. And at Alexandria, Spencer dresses up in nice clothes, and he rehearses saying hi in front of a mirror, and he's going to go talk to Negan. Anyways, he grabs a bottle of liquor and heads outside. So Richard enters a camper trailer hidden in the woods, and he hurls an empty milk bottle and cries. So anyways, Spencer stops by Rosita's house and reveals that he's planning to get close to Negan so he can strike against him at some point in the future, and Rosita agrees to join him for dinner afterwards. But anyways, so Daryl escapes the building and runs into Fat Joey outside, and Fat Joey surrenders and pleads for his life, but Daryl beats him to death with the pipe. So that was pretty brutal. But anyways, so Jesus finds Daryl in the midst of bashing in Fat Joey's head, and Daryl takes Rick's cold python, which Joey had, and man, Rick's had that cold python since the first episode. So yeah, anyways, so Daryl takes the cold python and he hops on a motorcycle, and Daryl and Jesus leave the compound. So Spencer walks to Rick's house and introduces himself to Negan. So the female savior that Michonne took hostage stops the car, and Michonne sees hundreds of saviors gathered in the distance, and she tells Michonne that an attack against Negan would be pointless, and she says that they're all Negan, and she tells Michonne to shoot her and get rid of the car, which Michonne does. But anyways, so Rick and Aaron arrive at the Alexandria gate and are surprised to be greeted by saviors who inspect the goods that Rick and Aaron brought back, and Negan shares a drink with Spencer on the porch, and he pines for a pool table, and Spencer tells him where to find one, and I believe it was Pete's old pool table, because I remember Pete had a pool table. So Pete was Jesse's abusive husband, and he was back in season 5, and Rick got into a fight with him, and he ended up killing Pete when Pete showed up at the town meeting with Michonne's katana and killed Deanna's husband, so Rick killed Pete. But I believe it was Pete's old pool table. So anyways, the saviors unload Rick and Aaron's cargo truck, and they find the congrats for winning but you lose sign with the drawing of a middle finger. And one of the saviors, enraged at the disrespect, beats Aaron, believing that the note was intended for them. And Rick tries to intervene but is stopped by 2 of the other saviors. And Negan and Spencer play pool in the middle of the street, and the residents gather around to watch. And Spencer tells Negan that Rick's ego is out of control and proposes that Negan appoint Spencer the new leader of Alexandria. So the 2 saviors finish beating up Aaron, and Rick helps him up, and Aaron's like, my heart's still beating, right? So yeah, anyways, the 2 saviors really beat the shit out of Aaron. I mean, his face is covered in blood, and yeah, so it was a pretty brutal beating. But anyways, so Negan considers Spencer's betrayal, and he points out that Rick is swallowing his hatred to gather goods for Negan so he won't kill anyone else. And he says that takes guts. And Negan wonders out loud why Spencer doesn't just kill Rick himself instead of sneaking around. And Negan answers his own question and says, it's because you've got no guts, and plunges a knife into Spencer's abdomen, disemboweling him, and it's a pretty brutal scene. I mean, we see guts just spilling out of Spencer's stomach, so it's a pretty brutal scene. But anyways, and Negan's like, there they are, they were inside you the whole time. You did have guts. I've never been so wrong in my whole life. So that was pretty funny. And yeah, so anyways, I did not like Spencer at all. I mean, he blamed Rick for everything, and yeah, so anyways, I did not like him. He was just not a likable character. But anyways, so yeah, I was kind of glad to see him go, because he just wasn't a likable character at all. But anyways, so Rosita pulls out her gun and fires it at Negan, but I remember, like, right after she shot the gun, there was a commercial break. I was like, oh my god, you seriously have to have a commercial break right now? So yeah, anyways, but the bullet misses and instead hits Lucille, and Negan's like, shit, what the shit? Shit, you tried to kill me. Shit, you shot Lucille. So that was pretty funny. But anyways, I'm sure on the Blu-ray, since we have the uncensored version of all the episodes, I'm sure those were all F-bombs. But since it's cable TV and they can't say the F word, they had to replace it with shit. But anyways, one thing that I just do not get is how they can show someone get their stomach sliced open and they can show like guts spilling out, but they can't say the word fuck. That just does not make sense to me. But anyways, yeah, that's for another time. But anyways, So one of the saviors, a rat, wrestles Rosita to the ground and holds her at knife point, and Negan picks up the bullet casing and realizes that it's homemade, and he demands to know who made the bullet, and Rosita lies and says that she made it herself, and Rot's using her knife to cut Rosita's face, and Negan calls her bluff and orders Rot to kill someone, and she turns around and shoots Olivia in the face, and Rick shows up to the scene and tells Negan to leave, and Negan agrees to go as soon as he learns who made the bullet, and Tara falsely confesses to making the bullet, and as the saviors turn their guns on her, Eugene admits that it was him, and he starts listing off all the information about the bullet to Negan, so that was pretty funny. He's talking really fast and telling him everything about the bullet, and then Negan cuts him off and takes him hostage. So Negan takes Eugene so he can make bullets for him, but anyways, so Rick sees that Spencer is reanimating, and it was pretty cool to see a character die and then see them reanimate as a walker. We haven't seen that for a while. We've seen that with Amy back in season 1, and we saw that with Shane in season 2. We saw that with Merle in season 3, and we also saw that with Herschel in season 4 after the governor decapitated him. Michonne went back to the prison and saw his decapitated zombie head. So yeah, it was pretty cool though to see in this episode Spencer get killed and then turn into a walker. But anyways, so Rick angrily stabs him in the head, and that night Michonne informs Rick that there are more saviors than they thought, but that they should still fight for Judith and for Carl and for Alexandria and the Hilltop, and Rick's I know that now. So anyways, the next day Maggie stands guard at the Hilltop gate, and she sees something in the distance and smiles. So Rick, Michonne, and Carl, and Rosita and Tara enter the Hilltop and reunite with Maggie, Sasha, and Enid, and Rick admits that Maggie was right all along, that they have to get ready to fight, and Daryl and Jesus come out to greet them, and Daryl gives Rick the gun that he retrieved from Fat Joey, and Rick and Daryl hug. So that was pretty cool to see Rick and Daryl hug. Romance. So yeah, anyways, so they all stride towards the mansion, and that's the end of the episode. So it was cool to see them all reunited, because season 7 starts out with a feeling of hopelessness, because 2 of our beloved characters have just been killed, and it just feels so hopeless, now that Negan's basically in control. Just feels really hopeless. But now at the end of the first half of season 7, we see all the survivors reunited and they're getting ready to fight. So yeah, I cannot wait for the second half of season 7, because we're going to be seeing Alexandria and the Hilltop and the Kingdom all team up to fight the Saviors, and should be an amazing second half, and I'm really excited for All Out War in season 8. So yeah, anyways, but it was great to see the survivors reunited at the end of the episode, because it felt like there was hope, and that, they could overcome this. But yeah, so anyways, so there was an after credits scene at Alexandria. So anyways, Father Gabriel is keeping night watch at the Alexandria gate, and someone watches him through binoculars, and a dark figure in boots lurks in the darkness, then heads towards Alexandria. So I'm pretty sure it's the same person that was watching Rick and Aaron earlier in this episode. So yeah, anyways, we'll have to wait and see who that is. But yeah, so anyways, to give this one a rating out of 10, I'm going to give this one a perfect 10 out of 10. It was an amazing mid-season finale, and we saw the deaths of Spencer and Olivia, and I really liked Spencer's death scene. So yeah, anyways, I really did not like Spencer, so it was good to see him go, because, he was just not a likable character at all. But yeah, so I thought it was adapted really well from the comics, Spencer's death scene, and, Olivia, she was just always kind of in the background. We didn't really see much from her. So, yeah, but anyways, and it was kind of sad to see her go, but she didn't really do much. She was just always kind of in the background. So, yeah, anyways, yeah, so that's my take on the Season 7 mid-season finale. So, predictions video for Season 7, Episode 9 will be coming tomorrow or the next day. But I'm super excited for the second half of Season 7, and yeah, so anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll see you all for the next one, and hope you guys enjoyed my reviews throughout the first half of Season 7. This week I'm going to do a review of the first half of Season 7, where I just give my thoughts on each episode, and yeah, so anyways, that'll be coming sometime this week, but anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you all for the next one. Alright, bye guys.